All right. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Guess what I'm going to do this morning? It's just say greetings. It's been a while. We haven't been able to do any live streams, and I don't know, it's been 135 days or so, maybe 4 months ish. Glad to see you all here. I'm going to start us out this morning. I'm just going to read Proverbs chapter 9 to see how many people we get into the room. See how many people we get into the room. Proverbs chapter 9. It says, wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. If you hear wild things going on, it's just my cat. He's running around, just doing what he does. So, wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts. She hath mingled her wine. She hath also furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, come, eat of my bread, and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth to himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee, and rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me, wisdom, by me, thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself, but if thou scornest, thou alone shalt bear it. A foolish woman, it's talking about wisdom, and then it starts talking about a foolish woman. So the wise woman is wisdom. A foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house, on a seat in the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. And as for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. All right. That was Proverbs chapter 9. All right. Good morning, brothers and sisters. I don't know if you've noticed, I have pulled a lot of blue wrenches from a bunch of people, not intentionally against anyone in particular. I will go back through and add blue wrenches back. I just wanted to clear out the people that don't show up anymore. And I didn't know who all showed up. So I cleared a bunch of blue wrenches. All right. I added several back just now. And let's see here. Let's see who all's here. Ryan. Good morning, Ryan. And Becky, and David, and Paul. Good morning, brothers and sisters. Zilran. Good morning, sister. Good morning, Tony. And Jody. Good morning, Jody Stegman. All right. All right. I've got everybody who's here added as a moderator. Yeah, there was a bunch of people that don't show up anymore and don't come to the channel anymore for whatever reason. No big deal. So just wanted to take them off the list of moderators, and because they just don't show up anymore. Like I said, if you show up, I'll add you as a moderator. But there was just so many. I had a list of so many people as moderators that there was none of them showing up here. So, all right, this morning we're going to go into where we left off months ago. Let me go ahead and stop my camera. Oh, good morning, Jody. Did I not say hi to you? I'm not sure, but blessing, sister, if I didn't. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop my camera, and I'm going to add some stuff to the screen here. All right. Well, that's where we're going, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click right over here at Exodus. Let me make sure everybody's still here. Did I lose everybody? Or did I just cut out myself? Y'all let me know. All right, I'm still here. All right, it's just on my own phone, so that's no big deal. I'm going to go ahead and put Exodus back on the screen. All right. Whenever we were here last time, we were talking in Exodus in the 20th chapter of the 10 Commandments. And right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go over this one commandment right here. The one commandment with promise. It says, honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. All right. Honor thy father and thy mother. We're going to figure out who our father and our mother is today. That way we know. All right. So I got my phone back up so I can see it. I'm not going to look at it too much. I'm going to try to keep to the subject. All right. Honor your father and your mother. Let's go over here to Ephesians real fast. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 1 says, children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Honor thy father and mother, which is the first commandment with promise. With promise. A summons, a promise. Get rid of this. A promise. Epangelia. Appropriately on an angelo. Announce. A promise which literally announces what is fitting, or apt or appropriate. Epangelia is nearly always used of God's promise in the New Testament, hence guaranteed by his own eternal law. In the New Testament and throughout antiquity, epangelia is a legal term that refers to an officially sanctioned promise. Almost every New Testament use of the word promise is the same word, points back to the Old Testament. Back to the Old Testament. The first commandment with promise. Well, we have to go try to figure out what promise this is. We were in Exodus. What is it? What promise is it? It is the promise that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Let's go over here and look. Where was I at? Let's see. I've got Matthew chapter 23. Let's figure out who our father and our mother is. Let's go to Matthew chapter 23. Well, first of all, we know that God is our Father. But in Matthew chapter 23, it says in verse 8, it says, "But be not ye called Rabbi, for one is your master, even Christ. And all ye are brethren." That means we're brothers and sisters. "And call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father, which is in heaven. One is your Father, which is in heaven. Neither be ye called masters, for one is your master, even Christ. But he that is the greatest among you shall be your servant. And whosoever shall exalt himself shall be abased, and he that shall humble himself shall be exalted." Good morning, Captain Caveman. All right. It says, "For one is your Father in heaven." It says, "Call no man your father upon the earth, for one is your Father in heaven." We'll go back to Exodus. Honor your father. Who is this talking about right here? Is this talking about our physical parents? No. This is talking about God right here. This specific piece right here, thy father. This is talking about God. Hey, good morning, T. Turner. Let me make you blue again. All right. You're blue again. All right. This says thy father. Honor thy father. This is talking about God. It's not talking about your earthly father. Your earthly father is contained in another portion of this scripture here underneath this one. But only under thy mother. But only if he does the will of the Father. Right here. Then he would be contained right here, because then he would be part of your mother, your brothers, and your sisters. All right. Let's go over here and look. We were just in Matthew, and now we're going to move back over here to Proverbs, and we're going to read a little. This may just be quite a bit of reading, so I hope y'all are ready. Because Proverbs is all about wisdom and understanding. I'm just going to begin reading in Proverbs chapter 1. I'm probably going to read at least through chapter 3. It says, "The Proverbs of Solomon, the son of David, king of Israel, to know wisdom and instruction, to perceive the words of understanding, to receive the instruction of wisdom, justice, judgment, and equity, to give subtlety, prudence, to the simple, to the young man, knowledge and discretion. A wise man will hear, the hearing ear and the seeing eye, the Lord hath made even both of these. The wise man will hear and will increase learning, and a man of understanding shall attain unto wise counsels. Sorry about that. To understand a proverb and the interpretation, the words of the wise and their dark sayings. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. Fools despise wisdom and instruction. It says, "My son, hear the instruction of thy father, and forsake not the law of thy mother. For they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head, and chains about thy neck." Hey, y'all's Will Soren. Good morning, brother. Let me add you back as blue if I can. I'm not sure. All right, there. Yep, I did. Okay. All right. Good morning. Blessings. It says, my son, hear the instruction of thy father. Discipline, chastening, correction, the law, the rules of thy father. There's one Father. Remember that. God's our Father. And forsake not the law of thy mother, for they shall be an ornament of grace unto thy head and chains about thy neck. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down to the pit. We shall find all precious substance. We shall fill our houses with spoil. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. That seems to be like making an oath, doesn't it? My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path. Remember, there's only two ways, the broad way and the narrow way. And the narrow way is Jesus. For their feet run to evil and make haste to shed blood. Surely in vain the net is spread in the sight of any bird. You can't catch a bird if you spread out the net to catch it in front of it. They lay in wait for their own blood. They lurk privily for their own lives. So are the ways of everyone that is greedy for gain, which taketh away the life of the owners thereof. Wisdom. I think y'all are getting to a point here. Y'all understand that wisdom is our mother. You're beginning to understand that wisdom is our mother. This is where we're getting to here. Wisdom crieth aloud. She uttereth her voice in the streets. She crieth in the chief places, in the concourses, in the openings of the gates. In the city she uttereth her words, saying, she uttereth in the city. How long, ye simple ones, will ye love simplicity? And the scorners delight in their scorning, and fools hate knowledge. Turn you at my reproof. Behold, I will pour out my spirit unto you. I will make known my words unto you. Because I have called, and ye refused. I have stretched out my hand, and no man regarded. But ye have set at naught all my counsel, and would none of my reproof. I also will laugh at your calamity. I will mock when your fear cometh. When your fear cometh as desolation, and your destruction cometh as a whirlwind. When distress and anguish cometh upon you, then shall they call upon me, but I will not answer. They will seek me early, but they shall not find me. For that they hated knowledge and did not choose the fear of the Lord. They would none of my counsel. They despised all my reproof. Therefore shall they eat the fruit of their own way, and be filled with their own devices. For the turning away of the simple shall slay them, and the prosperity of fools shall destroy them. But whoso hearkeneth unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Whoso hearken unto me shall dwell safely, and shall be quiet from fear of evil. Let's go back over here to Exodus real fast. Thy days may be long upon the land. Let's go back over here, Proverbs, one more time. Let's continue through Proverbs. We're going to go to chapter 2. The benefits of wisdom. My son, if thou wilt receive my words and hide my commandments with thee, so that thou incline thine ear unto wisdom and apply thine heart to understanding. Yea, if I criest after knowledge and liftest up my voice for understanding, if thou seekest her as silver and searchest for her as for hid treasures, then shalt thou understand the fear of the Lord and find the knowledge of God. For the Lord giveth wisdom, out of his mouth cometh knowledge and understanding. He layeth up sound wisdom for the righteous. He is a buckler to them that walk uprightly. He keepeth the paths of judgment and preserveth the way of his saints. Then shalt thou understand righteousness and judgment and equity and every good path. When wisdom entereth into thine heart, and knowledge is pleasant unto thy soul, discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of evil men. You can't live very long if evil men catch up to you and kill you, can you? Discretion shall preserve thee, understanding shall keep thee, to deliver thee from the way of evil men, from the man that speaketh for froward things, twisted things, who leave the paths of uprightness to walk in the way of darkness. Who rejoice to do evil and delight in the frowardness of the wicked, whose ways are crooked, froward, wicked, crooked, whose ways are crooked, and they froward in their paths, to deliver thee from the strange woman, even from the stranger, which flattereth with her words, which forsaketh the guide of her youth, and forgetteth the covenant of her God. No word of God in the one without wisdom. For her house inclineth unto death, and her paths unto death. None that go to her return again, neither take they hold of the paths of life, that thou mayest walk in the way of good men and keep the paths of righteous. For the upright shall dwell in the land, and the perfect shall remain in it. That your days may be long upon the earth. For the upright, the wise, those who have wisdom. But the wicked shall be cut off from the earth, and the transgressors shall be rooted out of it. And transgressors shall be rooted out of it. We're going to go one more time to Proverbs chapter 3 before we move somewhere else for a bit. It says, my son, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add unto thee. So his law and his commandments add length of days and peace unto you. Wait a minute. Exodus said that the first commandment with promise was that honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the earth. Is wisdom knowing the word of God and understanding and hearing it? For length of days, forget not my law, but let thine heart keep my commandments. Keep means to watch over, to keep guard. Don't let any of them get lost. You may not be able to actually do them all every day, all the time. You're going to fail. But you got to keep them. You can't let them get twisted, get froward. For length of days and long life and peace shall they add to thee. Let not mercy and truth forsake thee. Bind them about thy neck, mercy and truth. Bind them about thy neck. Write them upon the table of thine heart. So shalt thou find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men. With mercy and truth you will find favor and good understanding in the sight of God and men. Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Be not wise in thine own eyes. Fear the Lord and depart from evil. It shall be health to thy navel and marrow to thy bones. Honor the Lord with thy substance and with the first fruits of all thine increase. So shall thy barns be filled with plenty, and thy presses shall burst with new wine. If your barns are filled with increase and they're bursting with new wine, then you have plenty of food to survive. Your days will be long. My son, despise not the chastening of the Lord, neither be weary of his correction. His correction. Neither be weary of his correction. For whom the Lord loveth, he correcteth, to decide, to judge, prove, even as a father, the son in whom he delighteth. God is our Father. Honor your father. If your father is a amazing man and he does the will of God, then you have to honor your physical father too. We'll find out why later. Happy is the man that findeth wisdom, and the man that getteth understanding. For the merchandise of it is better than the merchandise of silver, and the gain thereof than fine gold. She is more precious than rubies, and all the things thou canst desire are not to be compared unto her. Length of days is in her right hand, and in her left hand riches and honor. Length of days. The first commandment with promise. Wisdom is your mother. Her ways are ways of pleasantness, and her paths are paths of peace. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold of her. She is a tree of life to them that lay hold of her. And happy is every one that retaineth her. The Lord, by wisdom, hath founded the earth. By understanding hath he established the heavens. By his knowledge the depths are broken up, and the clouds drop down the dew. My son, let not them depart from thine eyes. Keep sound wisdom and discretion. So shall they be life unto thy soul, and grace to thy neck. Wisdom is your life. Then shalt thou walk in the way safely, and thy foot shall not stumble. You'll be on a firm footing when you have wisdom. When thou liest down, thou shalt not be afraid. Yea, thou shalt lie down, and thy sleep shall be sweet. Be not afraid of sudden fear, neither of the desolation of the wicked when it cometh. For the Lord shall be thy confidence, and shall keep thy foot from being taken. Withhold not good from them to whom it is due, when it is in the power of thine hand to do it. Say not unto thy neighbor, Go and come again, and tomorrow I will give, when thou hast it by thee. Devise not evil against thy neighbor, seeing he dwelleth securely by thee. Strive not with a man without cause, if he have done thee no harm. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways. For the froward is abomination to the Lord, but his secret is with the righteous. The curse of the Lord is in the house of the wicked, but he blesseth the habitation of the just. Surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace to the lowly. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. All right, perilous times. I'm going to add you as a moderator. Good morning. If I can. I don't know. Like I said, my internet's acting up over here on my regular phone. That's okay, because it's not acting up on my Wi-Fi. Oh. All right, I got it. Says, all right. The wise shall inherit glory, but shame shall be the promotion of fools. All right, let's go over here and go to Matthew. Is this the one I'm going to go to right here? Let's look. Nope. Let's go to this one right over here. Let's go to Matthew in chapter 12. Matthew chapter 12. This is going to be a little short portion right here. Jesus' mother and brothers. But I have another section to read with this that is amazing. But this is how we discover who our mothers and our brothers and our sisters are. When While he yet talked to the people, we're on Matthew chapter 12, verse 46 through 50. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother? Who is my mother? And who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. Behold, my mother and my brethren. And he said, for whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. So therefore, if your father, earthly father, does the will of the heavenly Father, the same is your brother, your sister, and your mother. The same is wisdom. The same is wise. And if they don't, then they deserve no honor. But if they do, and if they're your brothers and sisters in Christ, then they deserve honor, because if they're walking according to the commandments of God, then they're doing the will of the Father. Let's go over here for just a second. I'm going to go, I've been reading. I've got a book that I've been reading. No worries about your fingers. My internet's all messed up and I can't really read the chat right now anyway. I'm going to have to go back through and reread it. But that's okay. But I got a new book and I've been reading out of it. It's Matthew Henry's commentary. It's originally a 6-volume set, but the book I got is just all in one volume. But today I went ahead and looked online because I wanted y'all to be able to see this when I read it, because I pulled up the commentary and read this the other day to myself and was like, wow, this is amazing. So we're going to go over here and we're going to look in Matthew Henry's commentary for Matthew 12 verses 46 through 50. And that's where we're at right here. And if you just want to look it up, it's really easy to find. Just look up Matthew Henry complete commentary online, and you'll find the free version online, and you can just go through the whole thing. All right. And here's these are the verses I just read. I'll go ahead and read them again just to make sure they're fresh in your brains. While he yet talked to the people, behold, his mother and his brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him. Then one said unto him, behold, thy mother and thy brethren stand without, desiring to speak with thee. But he answered and said unto him that told him, who is my mother, and who are my brethren? And he stretched forth his hand toward his disciples and said, behold, my mother and my brethren. For whosoever shall do the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same is my brother and sister and mother. It says, many excellent, useful sayings came from the mouth of our Lord Jesus upon particular occasions. Even his digressions were instructive, as well as his set discourses, as here. Give me just 1 second. My cat's being crazy. It's dragging my computer cord down on the ground. Says many, okay. Even his digressions were instructive, as well as his set discourses, as here. Sorry about the dogs. Can't change it. All right. This is observation number 1 from Matthew Henry. It says, how Christ was interrupted in his preaching by his mother and his brethren that stood without, desiring to speak with him. They interrupted him. Which desires of theirs was conveyed to him through the crowd. It is needless to inquire which of his brethren they were that came along with his mother. Perhaps they were those who did not believe in him, or what their business was. Perhaps it was only designed to oblige him to break off, for fear he should fatigue himself, or to caution him to take heed of giving offense by his discourse to the Pharisees, and or involving himself in difficulty, as they could teach it, as if they could teach him wisdom. He was as yet talking to the people. No, Christ's preaching was talking. It was plain, easy, and familiar, and suited to their capacity and case. What Christ has delivered had been cavilled at, and yet he went on. Note, the opposition we meet within our work must not drive us from it. He left off from talking with the Pharisees, for he saw he could do no good with them, but continued to talk with the common people, who, not having such a conceit of their knowledge as the Pharisees had, were willing to learn. His mother and brethren stood without, desiring to speak with him, when they should have been standing within, desiring to hear him. They had the advantage of his daily converse in private, and therefore were less mindful to attend upon his public teaching. Note, frequently those who are nearest to the means of knowledge and grace are most negligent. Hey, good morning, Tonette. Let me add you back as a moderator, if I can. Like I said, my internet's sketchy. It'll take a second. Those who are nearest to the means of knowledge and grace are most negligent. That means that the people who are closest and it's easily accessible to them just don't access it. That means his family was the same way. Familiarity and easiness of access breeds some degree of contempt. We are apt to neglect that this day, which we think we may have any day. We are apt to neglect that this day, which we think we may have any day. Forgetting that these animals are driving me crazy today. Once again, I'm going to reread this portion right here. We are apt to neglect that this day, which we think we may have any day, forgetting that it is only the present time we can be sure of. Forgetting that is the present time we can be sure of. Tomorrow is none of ours. There is too much truth in that common proverb. The nearer the church, the further from God. It is a pity it should be so. One more second. Okay. Maybe he won't mess with it anymore. It is a pity it should be so. They not only would not hear him themselves, but they interrupted others that heard him gladly. The devil was a sworn enemy to our Savior's preaching. He had sought to battle his discourse by the unreasonable cavils of the scribes and Pharisees, and when he could not gain his point that way, he endeavored to break it off by the unseasonable visits of relations. No, we often meet with hindrances and obstructions in our work by our friends that are about us, and are taken off by civil respects from our spiritual concerns. Those who really wish well to us and to our work may sometimes, by their indiscretion, prove our back friends. I love that word, prove our back friends. They're not really, they're impediments and an impediment to us, not really a front friend that's helping. Back friends. They prove our back friends and impediments to us in our duty. As Peter was offensive to Christ with his master, spare thyself, when he thought himself very officious, The mother of our Lord desired to speak with him. It seems she had not then learned to command her son, as the iniquity and idolatry of the Roman Church has since pretended to teach her. Nor was she so free from fault and folly as they would make her. It was Christ's prerogative and not his mother's to do everything wisely and well and in its season. Christ once said to his mother, "How is it that ye sought me? Wist he not that I must be at my Father's business?" And it was then said, she laid up that saying in her heart. But if she had remembered it now, she would not have given him this interruption when he was about his Father's business. Note, there is many a good truth that we thought was well laid up when we heard it, which yet is out of the way when we have occasion to use it. Y'all give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. I got to let this dog out. Come on, out. Get off. All right, I'm back. There's a goat roaming around outside the fence on the outside, hindering the word of God at the moment. Literally, there's a goat out there running around, and my dogs won't quit barking at it. Oh, my goodness. That's okay. I don't know. Is it really bad in the background? Just let me know in the chat if it's really bad in the background, and I'll see what I can do about it. All right. All right. We were talking about his mother interrupting him while he's about his Father's business. This says, note, there is many a good truth that we thought was well laid up when we heard it, which yet is out of the way when we have occasion to use it. Okay, thanks. All right, how he resented this interruption. Verses 48 through 50. He would not hearken to it. He was so intent upon his work that no natural or civil respects should take him off from it. Who is my mother and who are my brethren? Not that natural affection is to be put off, or that under pretense of religion we may be disrespectful to parents or unkind to other relations. But everything is beautiful in its season, and the less duty must stand by while the greater is done. The less duty must stand by while the greater duty is done. Less duty must stand by while the greater is done. All right, and where was I at in here? All right, there we are. When our regard to our relations comes in competition with the service of God and the improving of our opportunity to do good, in such a case, we must say to our Father, I have not seen him as Levi did. The nearest relations we must be comparatively hated. That is, we must love them less than Christ, and our duty to God must have the preference. This Christ has here given us an example of the zeal of God's house. Did so far eat him up, that it made him not only forget himself, but forget his dearest relations. And we must not take it ill of our friends, nor put it upon the score of their wickedness if they prefer the pleasing of God before the pleasing of us. But we must readily forgive those neglects which may be easily imputed to a pious zeal for God's glory and others' good. Nay, we must deny ourselves and our own satisfaction rather than do that which may in any way divert our friends from or distract them in their duty to God. You see that? We shouldn't be distracting our friends from their duty to the Lord. He took that occasion to prefer his disciples, who were his spiritual kindred, before his natural relations as such, which was a good reason why he would not leave preaching to speak with his brethren. He would rather be profiting his disciples than pleasing his relations. Here's observances. The description of Christ's disciples: they are such as do the will of his Father, not only hear it and know it and talk of it, but do it. For the doing of the will of God is the best preparative for discipleship and the best proof of it that denominates us at his disciples indeed, in truth. Christ does not say, whosoever shall do my will, for he came not to seek or do his own will, distinct from his Father's. His will and his Father's are the same, but he refers us to his Father's will because now, in his present state and work, he referred himself to it. The dignity of Christ's disciples: the same as my brother and sister and mother. This is where we needed to get to. Extremely important here too. The same. Hey, good morning, Bill. Let me get you back in as a moderator, if it'll let me. I think it will. It just takes a minute. All right. The dignity of Christ's disciples: the same as my brother and sister and mother. His disciples that had left all to follow him and embraced his doctrine were dearer to him than any that were akin to him according to the flesh. They had preferred Christ before their relations. They left their father, and now to make them amends and show that there was no love lost, he preferred them before his relations. Did not they hear? You hear that? He preferred them, like they left everything for him, and he preferred them above his family relations as well. Did not they hereby receive in point of honor 100-fold? It was very endearing and very encouraging for Christ to say, behold my mother and brethren. Yet it was not their privilege alone. This honor have all the saints. That's us. That's our honor. That's our honor, to be Christ's mother, brother, and sister. Note, all obedient believers are near akin to Jesus Christ. They wear his name, his authority. They bear his image. They have his nature and are of his family. He loves them, converses freely with them as his relations. He bids them welcome to his table, takes care of them, provides for them, sees that they want nothing that is fit for them. When he died, he left them rich legacies. Now he is in heaven and keeps up a correspondence with them, and will have them all with him at last, and will in nothing fail to do the kinsman part, nor will ever be ashamed of his poor relations, but will confess them before men, before the angels, and before his Father. This is amazing right here. Just saying, like, y'all, I highly recommend getting Matthew Henry's commentary. It's on the whole Bible. Not every section of it is as amazing as this, but he has some very amazing sections in there. It's a big book too. So our mother and our brother and our sisters. We're Jesus' mother and brothers and sisters. And those are who do his will. And those who do his will are wise. And wisdom is our mother. This is all starting to add together, isn't it? Let's go look here in Malachi for a second. Here's another one on who God is. Is God our Father? A son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If I then be a father, where is mine honor? This is God speaking through the prophet Malachi. And if I be a master, where is my fear, saith the Lord of hosts? Where is my fear? The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. All right, let's see here. One more thing. Let's go over here and let's make sure and look. There's two different types of wisdom. Let's go look over here and talk about a couple different types of wisdom. Let's see here. It says true wisdom from above. From above. We're going to remember that. From above. True wisdom from above. Who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Let him show out of good conversation, behavior, conduct, not just word. You see that? Conversation does not mean just words. Behavior, conduct. Let him show out of good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom. Of wisdom. There she is again. But if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. Bitter envying. Bitter, sharp, zeal or rivalry. Sharp zeal or rivalry. To be zealous, eagerness, zeal, enthusiasm, sharp rivalry, though, in this case. To have bitter envying and strife in your hearts. Strife. What is this? Ambition. You want to make a name for yourself in this world? You want to be ambitious? You don't go out and build something for yourself? Let yourself making yourself a name? That's strife in your heart. That's ambition. Says, but if ye have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth. This wisdom, talking about bitter envying and strife in your hearts. Ambition, to let yourself make yourself a name. Ambition. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish. Sensual, natural. It's just for the natural man wants to build up self, but you have to die to self. It says, for where envying and strife is, there is confusion, instability. Instability. That means they haven't added 7 things to their faith. If there's confusion, because if you add 7 things to your faith, then you will be stable. This is anastasis, instability. Anastasis. Disturbance, upheaval, revolution, almost anarchy. First in the political and thence in the moral sphere. So that's the other wisdom. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, comes from below, sensual, devilish. For where envying and strife is, there is confusion in every evil work, twisted, worthless, bad. But the wisdom that is from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle and easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits. The fruits of the Spirit: love, joy, peace, gentleness, kindness, long-suffering. It's without partiality. See that? It's without partiality. This wisdom is without uncertainty. Without uncertainty. Unambiguous, undivided, wholehearted. wholehearted. Wisdom is wholehearted. Easy to be entreated, full of mercy and good fruits, without partiality and without hypocrisy. Without pretense, without pretending. And the fruit of righteousness is sown in peace to them that make peace. Sown in peace to them that make peace. All right, I'm going to click one more thing right here. And I just wanted to go into this is the Old Testament word for wisdom. Noun, feminine, female, of course. And we're going to go through here and we're going to look at a few things in this. Solomon's wisdom included this with other forms of cleverness and shrewdness. Wisdom in administration. Let's see here. There's more down here. Some the divine wisdom is personified. She was begotten before all things to be the architect and counselor of God in the creation. She builds a place and spreads a feast for those who will receive her instruction. We're going to go read that here in a little bit. We're going to go to Proverbs chapter 9. She teaches in public. She gives her pupils the divine spirit. Her discipline simple. By her discipline, simple become wise. Rulers rule wisely, and those seeking her are richly rewarded. To get wisdom is the principal thing. It is fundamental principle. Is to fear God. Wisdom is beyond the reach of scorners. God giveth it to the good. Men are inclined. Let's see here. Treat her as a sister. Proverbs chapter 4. We may go read a whole bunch more in Proverbs here in just a minute. He who has wisdom is very important, y'all. Wisdom, skillful, wisdom, wisely, wit, in a good sense. All right, we're going to go read one more place before we go to Proverbs again. And we're going to read about the bride of Christ. Just going to read a little down here. It says, and there came unto me one of the seven angels. We're in verse 9 of Revelation 21. And there came unto me one of the seven angels, which had the seven vials full of the seven last plagues, and talked with me, saying, come hither, and I will show you the bride, the Lamb's wife. The bride, the Lamb's wife. And then he carried me away in the spirit to a great and high mountain, and showed me that great city, the bride, the Lamb's wife, the holy Jerusalem, descending out of heaven from God, having the glory of God. And her light was like unto a stone most precious, even like a jasper stone, clear as a crystal, and had a wall great and high, and had 12 gates. Remember, wisdom cries at the gates of the city. Do you remember that? I was reading that in Proverbs a while ago. Wisdom cries at the gates of the city. How does she do that? If you're the bride, the Lamb's wife, then how does wisdom cry at the gates? She speaks forth from anyone who does the will of the Father's mouth. That's how she cries from the gates. And hath a wall great and high, and hath 12 gates, and the gates 12 angels, and names written on 12 messengers, and the names written thereon, which are the names of the 12 tribes of the children of Israel. On the east 3 gates, and on the north 3 gates, and on the south 3 gates, and on the west 3 gates. And the wall of the city had 12 foundations, and in them the names of the 12 apostles of the Lamb. And he that talked with me had a golden reed to measure the city, and the gates thereof, and the wall thereof. And the city lieth foursquare, and its length is as large as its breadth. And he measured the city with the reed, 12,000 furlongs. Length and breadth and height of it are equal. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits. That's a good word, 144 cubits. Y'all know that matches up somewhere else in Revelation if anybody's read it lately. According to the measure of a man, it measures 144 cubits according to the measure of a man, that is, of a messenger. And the building of the wall of it was of jasper, and the city was of pure gold, like unto clear glass. And the foundations of the wall were garnished with all manner of precious stones. The first foundation was jasper, the second sapphire, the third chalcedony, the fourth emerald, the fifth sardonyx, the sixth sardius, the seventh chrysolite, the eighth beryl, the ninth topaz, and the 10th chrysoprase, the 11th jacinth, and the 12th amethyst. I'm going to give y'all a little bit for amethyst here. I wonder if it actually will do it in the Greek. We're going to look at it real fast. The amethyst is a very interesting word. They don't give you much. Oh, yes. Yeah, here you go. It's believed to stave off drunkenness. Well, if you break this word down, you got the alpha privative as a negative particle and the word methuo. And we'll go to this word methuo and methuo, drunken. See, amethyst was thought to stave off drunkenness. You see, these stones have specific meanings. And if it's to stave off drunkenness, and you add the alpha, or the methuo means I'm intoxicated with wine or drunk, and you add the alpha privative, it means to not be drunk, to not be drunk. The opposite of methuo. So that means not drunk. Isn't that one of our commands, to not be spiritually drunk in the New Testament? Like, I'm sure someone can find that if they want to go look for that. Don't be drunken. But that's just one of the words there. We're not going to go into all of those. It said, I saw no temple therein, for the Lord God Almighty and the Lamb are the temple of it. And the city had no need of the sun, neither of the moon to shine in it, for the glory of God did lighten it. And the Lamb is the light thereof. Who is your light? Who is the light that lights the lives of men? And the nations of them which are saved shall walk in the light of it. And the kings of the earth do bring their glory and honor into it. And the gates of it shall not be shut at all by day, for there shall be no night there. You're children of the day. You walk in the light. You're not children of the darkness. You don't walk in the night anymore. For there shall be no night there. We're children of the day. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. Is that not what we're doing? We're preaching the gospel, and we're calling the Gentiles nations. What does that mean? Ethnos. It's the same word as in the Old Testament, Gentiles. Goy. Same word. The race, the nations. It's who we've been preaching to. And they shall bring the glory and honor of the nations into it. And there shall in no wise enter into it anything that defileth. You don't let anything into your temple that defiles you, do you? Neither whatsoever worketh abomination or maketh a lie, but they which are written in the Lamb's book of life. They're the only ones in this city. All right. I'm going to go back over here to Proverbs. I'm just going to close out some of these. No, maybe not. I won't close them out, so I can type them into some links here in a minute. All right. We're going to go back to Proverbs, and I'm just going to continue reading because the first 9 chapters of Proverbs are, at the very least, they're about wisdom and understanding. So I'm just going to read some more. Read chapter 4. And they're about the father's instruction. That's wisdom. Hear ye, children, the instruction of a father, and intend to know understanding. For I give you good doctrine. Forsake ye not my law. For I was my father's son, tender and only beloved in the sight of my mother. Wisdom. He taught me also and said unto me, let thine heart retain my words, keep my commandments and live. Get wisdom, get understanding, forget it not, neither decline from the words of my mouth. Forsake her not, for she shall preserve thee. Love her, and she shall keep thee. Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom. And with all thy getting, get understanding. Wisdom is the principal thing. With all thy getting. Exalt her, and she shall promote thee. She shall bring thee to honor when thou dost embrace her. She shall give to thine head an ornament of grace. A crown of glory shall she deliver to thee. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, that the years of thy life shall be many. I mean, this seriously, wisdom is your mother. That the days may be long upon the earth, upon the land. Hear, O my son, and receive my sayings, that the years of thy life shall be many. I have taught thee in the way of wisdom. I have led thee in righteous paths. When thou goest, thy steps shall not be straitened, and when thou runnest, thou shalt not stumble. Thou takest hold of instruction, let her not go. Keep her, for she is thy life. Enter not into the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it, pass not by it, turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is as the shining light. The path is as the light. Jesus said, I am the way, the hodos, or in the Old Testament word, derek, same word, the way, the path. This is orak. There is another Old Testament word that is used a lot, and it's derek. So we have another one here. We'll click on it. A way, a path. Look at that. Childbearing. Traveler, way or ways. Oh. All right. Enter not in the path of the wicked, and go not in the way of evil men. Avoid it. Pass not by it. Turn from it, and pass away. For they sleep not, except they have done mischief, and their sleep is taken away, unless they cause some to fall. For they eat the bread of wickedness, and drink the wine of violence. But the path of the just is a shining light, that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. Ye are children of the light. Ye are not children of the dark. The same thing is testified through the entire Old Testament. The path of the just is as a shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day. The way of the wicked is as darkness. They know not at what they stumble. My son, attend to my words. Incline thine ear to my sayings. Let them not depart from thine eyes. Keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. So wisdom is the words of the Lord. My son, attend to my words, and incline thine ear to my sayings. Let not depart thine eyes, keep them in the midst of thine heart. For they are life. They are life. They are life unto those that find them, and health to all their flesh. Keep thine heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. Put away from thee the froward mouth, and perverse lips put far from thee. Let thine eyes look right on, and let thine eyelids look straight before thee. Ponder the path of thy feet, and let all thy ways be established. Turn not to the right hand nor to the left. Remove thy foot from evil. Once again, my son, attend to my wisdom, and bow thine ear to my understanding, that thou mayest regard discretion, and that thy lips may keep knowledge. For the lips of a strange woman drop as an honeycomb, and her mouth is smoother than oil. But her end is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a two-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Her feet go down to death. Her steps take hold on hell. Lest thou shouldest ponder the path of life. Her ways are movable, that thou canst not know them. Hear me now, therefore, O ye children, and depart not from the words of my mouth. Remove thy way far from her, and come nigh not the door of her house, lest thou give thine honor unto others, and thy years unto the cruel. Lest strangers be filled with thy wealth, and thy labors in the house of a stranger. And thou mourn at the last, when thy flesh and thy body are consumed, and say, how have I hated instruction, and my heart despised reproof, and have not obeyed the voice of my teachers, nor inclined mine ear to them that instructed me. I was almost in all evil in the midst of the congregation and assembly. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of water in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as the loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman? You see, he's talking about wisdom, not and earthly wisdom compared to heavenly wisdom. Why wilt thou, my son, be ravished by a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of the Lord, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquities shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instructions, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. Warnings against foolishness. Warnings against foolishness. My son, if thou be surety for thy friend, if thou hast stricken thy hand with a stranger, taken an oath, thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth. Do this now, my son, and deliver thyself. When thou art come into the hand of thy friend, go humble thyself, and make sure thy friend. Give not sleep to thine eyes, nor slumber to thine eyelids. Deliver thyself as a roe from the hand of thy hunter, and as a bird from the hand of the fowler. Go to the ant, thou sluggard, consider her ways, and be wise, which having no guide, overseer, or ruler, provideth her meat in the summer, and gathereth her food in the harvest. How long wilt thou sleep, O sluggard? When wilt thou arise out of thy sleep? Yet a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to sleep. So shall thy poverty come on as one that traveleth, as thy want as an armed man. A naughty person, a wicked man, walketh with a froward mouth, a twisted mouth. He winketh with his eyes, he speaketh with his feet, he teaches with his fingers. Frowardness is in his heart. He deviseth mischief continually, he soweth discord. Therefore shall his calamity come suddenly. Suddenly shall he be broken without remedy. These 6 things doth the Lord hate, yea, 7 are an abomination unto him. a proud look, a lying tongue, and hands that shed innocent blood, and heart that devises wicked imaginations, feet that be swift in running to mischief, a false witness that speaketh lies, and he that soweth discord among the brethren. My son, keep thy father's commandment, and forsake not the law of thy mother. Bind them continually upon thine heart, and tie them about thy neck. When thou goest, it shall lead thee, and when thou sleepest, it shall keep thee, and that when thou awakest, it shall talk with thee. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is a light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Talking about worldly wisdom again, not the wisdom that's from above, the wisdom that's from below, sensual. Keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of the strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart. Don't just all these things in the world that you don't need, you just lust after. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman a man is brought to a piece of bread, and an adulteress will hunt for the precious life. Can a man take fire in his bosom, and his clothes be not burnt? Can one go upon hot coals, and his feet not be burned? So he that goeth in to his neighbor's wife, whosoever toucheth her shall not be innocent. Men do not despise a thief, if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. Men do not despise a thief, if he steal to satisfy his soul when he is hungry. But if he be found, he shall restore sevenfold. He shall give all the substance of his house. But whoso committeth adultery with a woman lacketh understanding. He that doeth it destroyeth his own soul. A wound and dishonor shall he get, and his reproach shall not be wiped away. For jealousy is the rage of a man. Therefore he will not spare in the day of vengeance. He will not regard any ransom, neither will he rest content, though thou givest many gifts. I think we're probably going to read all the way through till chapter 9. And then I'll probably say goodbye and we'll take it out of here for the day. Says, warnings. All right. Did I just read 7 or did I just read 6? Make sure. Okay, yeah, okay. Make sure. All right. My son, keep my words and lay up my commandments with thee. Keep my commandments and live, and my law is the apple of thine eye. Bind them upon thy fingers and write them upon the table of thine heart. Say unto wisdom, thou art my sister, and call understanding thy kinswoman. They that keep thee from the strange woman, from the stranger with flattery her words. For at the window of my house I looked through my casement, and beheld among the simple ones. I discerned among the youths a young man void of understanding, passing through the street, near her corner, and he went the way of her house. In the twilight, whereat in the darkness, in the evening. This is not the wisdom we're looking for. In the black of dark night. And behold, there met him a woman with the attire of a harlot, and subtle of heart. She is loud and stubborn. Her feet abide not in her house. Now is she without, now in the streets, and lieth in wait at every corner. So she caught him and kissed him, and with an impudent face said unto him, I have peace offerings with me. This day I have paid my vows. Therefore came I forth to meet thee diligently, to seek thy face, and I have found thee. This is what the sensual wisdom is going to do to you. And it has done it to all of us, me included. I have decked my bed with coverings of tapestry, with carved works of fine linen of Egypt. I have perfumed my bed with myrrh, aloes, and cinnamon. Come, let us take our fill of love until the morning. Let us solace ourselves with loves. For the good man is not at home. The good man is not at home. He is gone on a long journey, and hath taken a bag of money with him, and will come at a day appointed. Nobody knows the day or the hour. Woo. With her much fair speech, she caused him to yield with the flattering of her lips. Smooth words and fair speeches. She caused him to yield with the flattering of her lips. She forced him. He goeth after her straightway, as an ox goeth to the slaughter, or as a fool to the correction of the stocks. Till a dart strike through his liver, and as a bird hasteneth to the snare, and knoweth not that it is for his life. Hearken unto me now, therefore, O ye children, and attend to the words of my mouth. Let not thine heart decline to her ways. Let not thine heart decline to her ways, her lowly ways. Go not astray in her paths, for she casts down many wounded. Yea, many strong men have been slain by her. Her house is the way to hell, going down to the chambers of death. All right, the excellence of wisdom. Doth not wisdom cry, and understanding put forth her voice? She standeth in the top of high places by the way, in the places of the paths. She crieth at the gates, at the entry of the city, at the coming in, at the doors. Unto you, O men, I call. O Gentiles, O men. Don't you see? She's calling now to all men, all flesh. Oh, unto you, O men, I call with my voice, is to the sons of men. O ye simple, understand wisdom. O ye fools, be of an understanding heart. Hear, for I will speak of excellent things, and the opening of my lips shall be right things. For my mouth shall speak truth. Wisdom is truth, and wickedness is an abomination to my lips. All the words of my mouth are in righteousness, and there is nothing froward or perverse in them. They are all plain to him that understandeth, and right to them that find knowledge. Receive my instruction, and not silver, and knowledge rather than choice gold. For wisdom is better than rubies, and all the things that may be desired are not to be compared to it. I, wisdom, dwell with prudence, and find out knowledge of witty inventions. The fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. Counsel is mine, and sound wisdom. I am understanding. I have strength. By me kings reign, and princes decree justice. By me princes rule, and nobles, even all the judges of the earth. I love them that love me, and those that seek me early shall find me. Riches and honor are with me, yea, durable riches and righteousness. My fruit is better than gold, yea, than fine gold, and my revenue than choice silver. I lead in the way of righteousness, in the midst of the paths of judgment, that I may cause those that love me to inherit substance, and I will fill their treasures. The Lord possessed me in the beginning of his way, before his works of old. I was set up from everlasting, from the beginning, or ever there was a earth, or ever the earth was. When there were no depths, I was brought forth, when there were no fountains abounding with water. Before the mountains were settled, before the hills was, I brought forth. While as yet he had not made the earth, nor the fields, nor the highest part of the dust of the world. When he prepared the heavens, I was there. When he set a compass upon the face of the depth. When he established the clouds above. When he strengthened the fountains of the deep. When he gave to the sea his decree that the waters should not pass his commandment. When he appointed the foundations of the earth. Then I was by him, as one brought up with him, and I was daily his delight, rejoicing always before him, rejoicing in the habitable part of his earth, and my delights were with the sons of men. Now therefore hearken unto me, O ye children, for blessed are they that keep my ways. Hear instruction and be wise, and refuse it not. Blessed is the man that heareth me, watching daily at my gates, waiting at the posts of my doors. For whoso findeth me findeth life, and shall obtain favor of the Lord. But he that sinneth against me wrongeth his own soul. All that hate me love death. And wisdom, the way of wisdom. We read this earlier, but I'm going to read it again. Wisdom hath builded her house, she hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beasts, she hath mingled her wine, she hath also furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens, she crieth upon the highest places of the city. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Come eat of my bread, and drink of my wine. Jesus said, My flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. And that word indeed is of truth. So he was saying, my flesh is to eat of truth, and my blood is to drink of truth. Come eat of my bread, because we were all one bread and one body. Come eat of my bread and drink of the wine which I have mingled. Mingling wine didn't mean that they were making it alcoholic. When they mingled their wine, it was because they had dehydrated the wine down to concentrate and put it in the little stomachs and buried it in the ground so it would stay good. And whenever they would pull it up out of the ground, they had to mingle it with water to make it the right potency, just like we make concentrated grape juice today. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she has said to him, Come eat of my bread and drink of my wine, because it's truth, which I have mingled. Forsake the foolish, and live, and go in the way of understanding. He that reproveth a scorner getteth himself shame, and he that rebuketh a wicked man getteth himself a blot. Reprove not a scorner, lest he hate thee. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love thee. Give instruction to a wise man, and he will be yet wiser. Teach a just man, and he will increase in learning. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and the knowledge of the holy is understanding. For by me thy days shall be multiplied, and the years of thy life shall be increased. If thou be wise, thou shalt be wise for thyself. If thou scornest, thou shalt bear it alone. A foolish woman is clamorous, she is simple, and knoweth nothing. For she sitteth at the door of her house, on the seat of the high places of the city, to call passengers who go right on their ways. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither. As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him, Stolen waters are sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he knoweth not that the dead are there, and that her guests are in the depths of hell. All right. Wow. All right, brothers and sisters. I don't know how many people, if anybody else showed up during this, but I just want to say thank everyone. I just want to thank everyone for being here this morning. And I just want to say praise God. I just hope you all received a blessing from this and gained some understanding of wisdom and who our Father and our Mother are. All right. Yeah, I'll go back and read through y'all's comments today. Like I said, Perilous Times, thanks for being here. Becky, everyone who's been here, Tonat, Zilrin, I know Paul, Bill, y'all's Will Soaring, Chris, Just want to say thanks for everyone being here. I'm not sure how often I'm going to be able to do these live streams, but I will try to do another one again as soon as possible, and I will let y'all know. I'm going to go ahead and just read Proverbs chapter 10 from my open Bible in front of me. And I'll try to leave all these verses and all these, at least the chapters, in the description of this video so you can find it. And I may go ahead and save a link to Matthew Henry's commentary online for free, because it's like I said, it's a really good commentary. Love you all, brothers and sisters. Y'all are a blessing. I'm going to read Proverbs chapter 10. The Proverbs of Solomon, wise son. A wise son maketh a glad father, but a foolish son is the heaviness of his mother. Treasures of wickedness profit nothing, but righteousness delivereth from death. The Lord will not suffer the soul of the righteous to famish, but he casteth away the substance of the wicked. He becometh poor that dealeth with a slack hand, but the hand of the diligent maketh rich. Bind wisdom on your fingertips and work in the way that richness, heavenly richness, not worldly. He that gathereth in summer is a wise son, but he that sleepeth in harvest is a son that causeth shame. It's harvest time, isn't it? Blessings are upon the head of the just, but violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. The memory of the just is blessed, but the name of the wicked shall rot. The wise in heart will receive commandments. They will receive them. They'll accept them because God's given them faith. But a prating fool shall fall. He that walketh uprightly walketh surely, but he that perverteth his ways shall be known. He that winketh with the eye causeth sorrow, but a prating fool shall fall. The mouth of a righteous man is a well of life. Isn't wisdom a well of life? The well of a righteous man is a well of life. But violence covereth the mouth of the wicked. Hatred stirreth up strifes, but love covereth all sins. In the lips of him that hath understanding, wisdom is found. In the lips of him that hath understanding, wisdom is found. But a rod is for the back of him that is void of understanding. Wise men lay up knowledge. Wise men lay up knowledge, but the mouth of the foolish is near destruction. The rich man's wealth is his strong city. The destruction of the poor is their poverty. The labor of the righteous tendeth to life, the fruit of the wicked to sin. He is in the way of life that keepeth instructions, but he that refuseth reproof erreth. He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander, is a fool. In the multitude of words there wanteth not sin, but he that refraineth his lips is wise. The tongue of the just is as choice silver. The heart of the wicked is little worth. The lips of the righteous feed many. Feed many. She set her table. The lips of the righteous feed many, but fools die for want of wisdom. The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and he addeth no sorrow with it. It is as sport to a fool to do mischief, but a man of understanding hath wisdom. The fear of the wicked, it shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. The fear of the wicked, that's what's going to get him. That's what's going to happen to the wicked. The fear of the wicked shall come upon him, but the desire of the righteous shall be granted. As the whirlwind passeth, so is the wicked no more, but the righteous an everlasting foundation. Who's your foundation? As vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. Have y'all ever been working and sent somebody to get a tool and they just are taking so long that you're like, how is this possible? It's like 10 steps to the tool and 10 steps back. And you can't get them to do any and move any faster than the granny low gear. You ever met anybody like that? As vinegar to the teeth and as smoke to the eyes, so is the sluggard to them that send him. The fear of the Lord prolongeth days, but the years of the wicked shall be shortened. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And the fear and honor your father and your mother is the first commandment with promise. The fear of the Lord prolongeth days, and it's the beginning of wisdom. But the years of the wicked shall be shortened. The hope of the righteous shall be gladness, but the expectation of the wicked shall perish. The way of the Lord is strength to the upright, but destruction shall be to the workers of iniquity. The righteous shall never be removed, but the wicked shall not inhabit the earth. The mouth of the just shall bringeth forth wisdom, but the froward tongue shall be cut out. The lips of the righteous know what is acceptable, well-pleasing, acceptable. But the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness. We should never just be acceptable to the Lord. That word, whenever it talks about finding out what is acceptable to the Lord in the New Testament, that word isn't acceptable. That word means well-pleasing. Finding out what is well-pleasing to the Lord, not what is just acceptable. I'm just saying, your child could come hand you a homework assignment and get a 70 on it, and that's acceptable. But is it well-pleasing? Not at all. The lips of the righteous know what is well-pleasing, but the mouth of the wicked speaketh frowardness. Love you all, brothers and sisters. So glad you were here. You have a blessed, wonderful day. Stay strong in the Lord. Jesus loves you, and I love you all.